broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command. Fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
This is the Solar Sci-Fi Podcast. Hello, this is episode 50 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Michael Ball, Martin Fowler are on again today. Episode 50 already, which is quite amazing. We've been doing this for nearly a year, which is staggering because it doesn't seem that long ago that I was designing the graphics. We have a special guest this week, author of the Timberwolf series, all the way from the United States of America, across the pond, as they say. We have Tom Julian. Hello, Tom.
Hey, thanks, guys. Great to be here.
Lovely.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for coming on. So we obviously, it was really good because, Tom, you sort of got in touch with us a little while ago, and you stated an interest on coming on and talking about, obviously, your background as in sci-fi writing as well as enjoying science fiction. And we managed to obviously have you on this week. So thank you very much for spending your time with us. It's certainly going to be an interesting show. So let's quickly ask you first of all, Tom, how are things where you are? How's your part of the planet?
It's chilly and windy today, but that's the least of our problems. So I live in the United States, and we've got the COVID ravaging here, and I live in the state of New Jersey,
right,
which is got a lot of new cases happening. Maybe not as bad as the rest of the country, but still pretty crazy here. But so I work from home now and end up trying to stay safe and just bought an exercise bike so I don't have to, go outside. But yeah,
very sensible. I mean, you guys aren't on lockdown at the moment, are you?
Well, we're not really on a lockdown per se. It's just there's lots of regulations in place about bars and restaurants and wearing masks when you go places and such. New Jersey, really, we've always had a mask mandate. For being in public. Yeah, so it's not anything much new, except schools and things like that are closed and workplaces are closed. Like if you work in an office, it's basically you're working from home. I've been working from home since March.
Really?
Which has been it's been crazy. I work in pharmaceuticals, and I knew that things were pretty bad because all the doctors and scientists are running around the building in the beginning of March, very concerned about everything that's going on. And even when we only had 20 cases in the United States, I knew something was up. And then I wasn't surprised when they shut down everything.
Yeah, my wife's also in pharmaceuticals as well. She teaches at the local university and stuff, and she was the one. I remember it very clearly when we first heard the news of this thing in China, of this new virus, which they hadn't really fully identified yet, but they were alarmed. And here we are, sort of 11 months later, and of course it's literally turned the world upside down. Just for info, we are supposed to be on a sort of lockdown at the moment. We are on lockdown, although our schools and universities are open, which is quite odd. So it's funny how our respective countries are all doing things slightly differently. But with these new potential vaccines coming, I mean, it's hopeful that the light is at the end of the tunnel, shall we say. Fingers crossed, in the next few months, we can start to have some semblance of normality again, which is all what we're all just waiting for very patiently. Martin, let me ask, how are you doing? How you been doing this week?
One of them crazy days. It's all just gone wrong today. But that's life under a pandemic and lockdowns and strange politicians and political situations, and they blocked my video globally, which I'm not happy about, and I've had to re-edit it all again.
So, do you want to give us some information? What was exactly blocked and why?
For my Could Have Been a Classic series, I watched a couple. Well, I've been watching Nightman.
I've not heard of that. Nightman? Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, it's a really cheesy series back in the 90s.
Okay.
And he ran for 2 seasons, this guy in a rubber suit. Well, he got the power of the universe. He can smell out evil.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
He can smell evil, yeah. You can sense it. And he's got a suit where he can fly. You can tell he's on a crane when he, lifts off.
Yeah.
And they've got these just baddies in it. But he's a jazz saxophonist playing a nightclub, and he's got a flash car, and he's called Johnny Domino.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to see that one. I mean, I saw something.
Well, it's a bit cheesy, but there's something about it.
Yeah. But the thing is, you know,
something there.
I'm like that. I mean, I saw a film with Warwick Davis called Leprechaun in Space 4. That was a very bizarre film. That was a very bizarre film. I like Warwick Davis. Obviously, I've known him from things like Star Wars and Doctor Who. But he played this leprechaun in space. And, yes, it was quite a bizarre thing.
I'm shocked that there was a Leprechaun in Space 1, let alone 4.
Yeah, I didn't. I just... I saw I only saw number 4 myself because it said it was set in space. It was this YouTube thing going on about these sci-fi films that you should have checked out even though they're really cheesy. And it was bad, but it was definitely worth a watch. So I'm glad I saw it. But I don't think I'll be going to Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3. Let's just put it that way. I don't think. I think the one will do me.
Jennifer Aniston's in the first one.
Oh, is she? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never even heard of it. Never even heard of it.
Where do you think Leprechaun 5 would go?
Well, I mean, spoilers. At the end of Leprechaun 4, he was blown out into space out of an airlock. And then he exploded, and then his hand turns into the FU finger sign, and then he floats off into space, and that was the end of it. So,
well, can I ask you a question? How does the leprechaun get into space?
I don't know. Well, he actually at one point he gets peed on and dies, and then he enters into the man's body and bursts out of his lower area. What? Yeah, it's the most.
Hang on. You're telling me.
I'm not joking.
Right, you're telling me, right. It's 6 o'clock UK time at tea time, right?
Yeah,
you're telling me,
know,
right?
That's what I saw.
That somebody peed on something and he came flying out.
Yeah. Entered his body.
Somebody's wee and popped up in his spaceship.
Yeah.
Go to another planet.
I'm not making it up. Look at it. Google it. I promise you, I'm not making it up. It is a very, and I thought Warwick Davis might be in a slightly better film than that, but he was the, but the as an actress in it, she was actually on Star Trek Voyager. There's an episode where Kez it's Kez in the future. She's very old, and then she starts going back in time to a younger point in her life. And in that episode, the other actress was her daughter. So I recognised her from Voyager. But I don't know anything more about this film. It's very bizarre, but it was a film I thought, what the hell? Let's give it a go. So I did. And,
you know that I'm gonna have to watch this now because I want to know how a leprechaun came out in a load of wig. Well, how did he end up inside somebody?
I don't know. It wasn't very clear. It didn't really sort of follow science fiction in a very competently written way, shall we say.
What can he do? What
I don't know. It's like a supernatural thing. It's like Freddy or Jason. He's kind of like when you kill him, he comes back to life again. And there's one point where he gets blown up and then he reforms into the leprechaun again. And Warwick Davis doesn't do a very good Irish accent either. It's an amazing film. I think that's definitely one.
You know that I'm going to have to watch this now.
I don't know if Warwick Davis is in all of them.
You've made me endure 2 hours of my life to watch
1 hour 38 minutes. Tom, have you ever seen? Have you ever seen Halloween 3: Season of the Witch?
Many years ago, probably like 30 years ago.
Well, if you remember, it's the only Halloween film where it isn't actually Mike Myers. It's about this guy who has these masks, as you would say, and it's he wants to sort of have this sort of like activity where he kills lots of children with this. It's a bizarre film, but I think it's a classic. But Martin wasn't very impressed, so I don't know if you've seen it. I thought it was good. But
my mate watched it. Actually, he said he watched it on a Sunday night. And do you know what he said about it?
What?
He said it were perfect for pointless viewing on a Sunday night. He quite enjoyed it.
I thought it was good. I love it.
He actually defended that film.
Ah, so we go. It's another one. I know. You see.
Yeah.
And I've just joined.
I have to eat my shit.
I've even just joined their YouTube. There's a YouTube page for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I've just. I can send you an invite. Man. I can send you an invite if you want, Martin.
Oh, please.
Oh, both of you. Yeah. I mean, if you want to.
I've got to.
Yeah, go on.
All right. I'll send you an invite. I haven't seen you on Facebook yet, Tom, but I'll certainly, if I can find you, track you down. I'll do a friend request at some point. Right. Are you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Brilliant. Are you guys ready for the news?
Let's have the news.
Right,
Yes.
here we go. Here's the jingle.
Working.
So in the sci-fi
News.
All right, so this week we've had brand new Mandalorian episode 3, Star Trek Discovery episode 5, where we finally see 31st century Starfleet. Let's ask you guys first of all about the Star Trek episode. I assume you've both seen it. What did you think of it? Let's ask Tom first, as he's our guest.
I liked it. I like how Star Trek seems to be. In previous Star Treks, that would have been the entire arc of the season is getting to find the Federation.
Right.
But I like that they found the Federation pretty early, and now
Yeah.
it's to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
I have a theory. I don't know if you guys want to hear my.
No, I'd love to.
my
I'd love to hear your
fan-
theories. Go
All
for
right.
it.
So I think that there is a. Do you remember how the Michael comes back on? She notices that the lullaby they were playing was the same lullaby that somebody else
Was heard
playing
somebody else.
earlier.
Yeah, another point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there is some sort of simulation going on where they're being tested right now by the Federation, and that it's going to be like a big holodeck type scenario
yeah.
where they.
There was a Red Dwarf episode where they had exactly the same thing. Where it was a simulation, and eventually they realised it wasn't real. There was some errors in the program. That's a very good idea. I could see that happening.
Honestly,
I don't know if it's a good idea.
Theory,
Go on, Mark.
theory could hold up, because when Michelle Yeoh, the Empress, when she starts blinking her eyes and them
Holograms
fading
sort of
in and out.
malfunction. Yeah.
Yeah,
be.
that'll climb back of that, as well.
Yeah, but then would you think of it as a cop-out then if that was the case? Because of what they're building up, it could be reset. So unless what they're showing is similar to what the 31st Century Federation is, I don't know. It's certainly a good idea. It's too early to tell.
Yeah,
You know.
Well, and then
I'm not
end
sure.
of the series. At the end of the series, we get Riker go switch off holodeck.
Yeah.
A la last
Yeah.
episode of Enterprise.
Right on the final episode.
I still like the last
episode.
episode of Enterprise. I don't care what anybody says. I know it was a bit of a cop-out, but I still thought it was quite cool. Yeah, certainly interesting. I know that the new Trill, she's not a Trill, but she's got a symbiote. She's going to be continuing. I know that this week's coming, we're going to see the Trill's partner again, the transgender actor in their character as well. Yeah, interesting. I think this week we're going to see that character Book coming back. How about the Mandalorian? What do you two think of that?
I thought it was a good one.
Did you?
It was very action packed, and it sort of seemed like a bridge episode where they had some level of action. It was kind of get into the next phase.
I think from my perspective, what I like about the this series is, although there's a sort of loose arc, what I like about it is that you really can, if you just fancy binging half an hour or 40 minutes of Star Wars, you could delve into any episodes, and relatively enjoy it, and then just put it away, and then go to another point. I'm really, really blown away by the series. I think it's done so well already, and it's not even been on for 2 seasons yet. Yeah, I love it as well. We had the Mandalorian character from the Clone Wars in this episode, played by Katie, what's her face from Battlestar?
Katie
Sackhoff.
yeah.
She was good. I thought she was very good. And next week, Ahsoka apparently might be in it. The actual. How do you two feel about that? Have you both seen Clone Wars?
They've set up the next 5 years with that one episode.
Have you seen all of Clone Wars as well, Tom?
If you see the whole Clone Wars, you know what's
I'm
going
catching
on,
up. I've
because
only seen the first season, and it's
what
slightly out of
it
order.
is that there's a lot of weird stuff with the planet Mandalore, and the Black Saber, that Imperial guy had.
Yeah,
The
and
Black
that's a very
Saber.
important factor, isn't it, in their
That
culture?
That is the centre of their entire culture.
Yes,
that
I've learnt
saber.
that. I've learnt that.
And with Asaka, what is it, Asaka Tano?
Second, yeah, absolutely.
She's massive in Clone Wars. and
That's right.
Rebels.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he's gonna. It looks like this could be going where the liberation of Mandalore. They're going home.
Do you both hope it's a long, do you both hope it's going to be quite a long-term series to really just? Because I think I would like it to be on for like 5 years, even longer if possible.
Yeah,
You know, I just love it coming on. It's like every time I watch it, it's one of those rare cases where, to me, it feels like I'm watching a film. It's the production.
Yeah.
It just feels so solid, and it's just more and more learning about the Star Wars universe, completely adhering to the continuity of previous films. And I'm absolutely blown away by it. I honestly hope it goes on for a long time.
It's just the whole setup of the cinematography, everything about it is just spectacular.
It's so solid. It's so solid.
It's stunning. The visions of the deserts, and there's something about
I know. Something magical about it. Yeah.
The guy that did the cartoons, Clone Wars and Rebels, Dave Filoni is the executive producer of it. So it's the same vision.
And also, these are written by Star Wars fans. These are people who really get what Star Wars is, and they have got it. They've nailed it. And it makes me feel very confident for any other productions like the Obi-Wan series or the character from Rogue One series. I can't wait. Bring it all on. I think it's a real highlight for me.
Well, the thing is, with all this, I mean, now what they're showing the universe, I mean, why didn't they put these people on the last 3 movies?
Well, I can't.
They would have created the vision. What they've created in 45 minutes is just... I mean, I watched Discovery, and then I watched the Mando, and the Mando, I loved Discovery last week. I liked him, but the Mando just walked.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I do. Yeah, it's the highlight, and I'm a huge Star Trek fan as well. But at the moment, I would say that Mandalorian is the highlight of the 2 respective series I'm watching at the moment. So, but absolutely great. A bit of Trek fan news. There's a Trek fan film which I've been mooted for years. It's called Pacific 201. Apparently, it's just been released the last few days. I've not seen it yet, but it's one of those series.
Been released?
Part 1 was released about 3 days ago, so I'm going to check it out. Have you heard of that one, Tom?
No, I haven't.
It was quite big. It was like it wasn't as big as Axanar.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
But it was one that was sort of like like Axanar has sort of always been in the background. We're going to do it, and it's never happened because of all these laws. It was similar to 201, but and Renegades and stuff. So I think that might be well worth a watch, and hopefully it'll be good. I've not watched it, but I've looked at the ratings, and it's got a lot of thumbs up. So that sort of bodes well for how it goes. Right, any news apart from those 2 that you've come across, Martin? Anything you want to share?
The new uniforms, what they're going to be wearing in Discovery next week.
Okay.
No, they're not. Are they? Has it been confirmed?
I think it's next week. This week they're wearing them, yeah.
Well, because I put a Photoshop thing up where they're wearing the 31st century uniforms. That's not a real picture, and it looked really good. But I mean, that's interesting. They should take over. They should actually wear the uniforms. If they're in that sort of era.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Can you hear us, Tom? Maybe Tom can't hear us. This could be a blooper. Just give me a second. Hello. Let's have a listen if he's still there.
Did you put that picture up? Because an actual site's put that up. It's all over the place. Is that now?
It was a guy on YouTube. It wasn't me. I did actually tweet my copy.
Right. So, because some screen ramp on it.
Yeah, it was a very good Photoshop.
Right.
And a lot of people thought it was a real image. All right, Tom. Tom, can you hear us?
Guys. Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a second.
No, that's fine. Don't worry, that's fine. I heard you sort of like in the background. Don't worry, that's fine. But yeah, that's interesting. There was in space, wasn't there? There was another astronauts went to the ISS, didn't they, this week? Did you hear about that? You must have heard about that. Were you impressed? Did you see the baby Yoda? Yeah. The baby Yoda in the
Yes, I did, floating around.
I mean, do you reckon Star Wars pay them for a promotion or something? Because that is a big promotion, isn't it? Him coming out of the hatch of throwing baby Yoda floating in space. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. I like that bit, and I think that's really cool.
It was awesome.
It was brilliant.
What I like about the space program nowadays is that it seems to be embracing a sense of fun.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, like they're all doing, like, if you look at the mission control, what used to be guys with crew cuts and, like, white shirts and black ties, now it looks like it's so diverse, and everybody's young, and women, and it's not all white guys, and it's just like a wonderful evolution. It's so much fun. They always are doing fun stuff.
But that's good. I mean, it's a shame in some ways that it got so serious and so sort of politically motivated through, because obviously it was funded. The NASA isn't a private company, but because now that they co-work with these private companies, it's doing great for the space program, and it certainly bodes well for the next few years in what hopefully is going to be a certainly interesting time for people in space.
When Elon gets that Starship off the ground as well, that's going to be interesting.
Oh, I know. I mean, it could be really interesting.
The thing he's going to get to Mars with is, I mean, they built the outer structure now, haven't they? So,
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, we live in interesting times. I mean, it's getting very futuristic. Like my mate in Spain said that they're about to start having those flying things that you call things that pick up parcels and they could drop them off.
Drones?
Drones, yeah. Apparently they're going to start having drones in his part of Spain or something. So it's, it's all getting quite futuristic now. It's not quite Back to the Future 2 kind of level, but it's certainly interesting. Martin, anything else you've got for us this week?
Zack Snyder has finally done it. Hang on. Zack Snyder's Justice League, the one that went to the cinema, his actual 6-hour version has now been, I think it's been done.
Okay.
And they've released the new trailer, which really was just like, there were a couple of bits added, but it looks still different to what I saw at the cinema. But apparently it's in 4 episodes. It's now long. So I'm quite excited about that. Cool. Amber Heard's going back to do Aquaman 2. And some comical news, some sort of Star Wars-ish. John Boyega would play James Bond, but only if Steve McQueen directs it, and that's from Total Film.
Okay. Well, you never know. I mean, like I said...
they may bring him back.
Oh. I don't know. All right, that's cool. I haven't got any other news my end. Anything else from you, Martin?
No, that's this week's news.
Yeah,
done,
I think we're pretty much... No, that's all right.
Again, there's things... Every time we sort of do it on a Wednesday, it's like the news turns up like Thursdays, don't
I know. Did we Did we report last week that Doctor Who season 13 is going from 11 episodes down to 8? Did we report that last week?
They've knocked 3 episodes off.
Yeah, and that doesn't bode well. That reminds me very much of 80s Doctor Who when it was sort of slowing down to minimal episodes. So I hope I'm
feeling with it. I have a feeling we're into the last round of it now.
Yeah, it's feeling a bit Sylvester McCoy era again, isn't it? And I remember that the first time. So I hope we're wrong. Like I said, it might be. The thing is, they could say that they're dropping 3 episodes this year because of COVID, and then season 14 will be back up to 11 episodes. But they could also use it as an excuse to say, well, we did 8 episodes last season. Let's do it again, and then it saves them more money. I don't know. I hope I'm not being too pessimistic.
When's the trailer coming for the New Year's episode?
It's Children in Need, is it, for the thing that we have in the UK on the 23rd of November? Actually, it's nearly. It's their birthday next week, isn't it? It'll be 57 years since Doctor Who started.
Wow.
So it could be when they could release that on YouTube as like a trailer, and people do want to, us Who fans want something new. So I don't know, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so that's it for news. Let's go into it's a sort of double focus of the week, really. So let's go into the focus of the week, part 1, which is Tom Julian. Let's just hit the jingle. Here we go.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week.
All right, Tom. Well, thank you for coming on. We wanted to talk to you, first of all, obviously, a bit about your background. And we've been looking at some of your books that you've released on Amazon. So you've done these Timberwolf books. I listened to the audio of the chapter The Descent, which features the ship Nemesis. And it also features, obviously, it talks about the characters and the psychic alien spider that takes over his brain. Tell me all about these. Tell me all about your book and how you got involved with it.
Yeah, so you picked up some great things. If oftentimes I describe it as I start with a psychic alien spider and everybody runs away because that's a piece of terror that is universal. Like, people are scared of spiders.
Yeah,
they're scared of big spiders, and then they think, well, they're scared of a mind controlling spider. So it's like a triple. A triple whammy of terror,
right?
So that's sort of the bad guys, but in a way, the bad guys are not the spiders. The bad guys are the point of the book is that humanity has kind of rampaged across the galaxy in a series of wars to wipe out other alien species.
Right.
And then when we finally got our nose bloodied by the spiders, by the Arnok, and now we're in a sort of state of needing to be in a state of peace.
Right.
And so we end up with an agent of an organization called the Department of Peace Enforcement, which is sort of the space CIA in this book, and they're responsible for making sure that the religious crazies and the warmongers don't take us back to war against the spiders.
Right.
And that's kind of where we start things. And a rogue element of the military has located a secret weapons facility, and he is trying to capture it so he can start the march across the galaxy again. And our protagonist Timberwolf happens to have a personal relationship against the person that's trying to do that. So it's a very tangled web, if one must.
Because it reminds you a bit of certain elements of things like The Expanse, or even like Section 31 from Star Trek. I like that these sort of military organisations and sort of layered sort of organisations where they all have their own sort of agendas and things like that to form, obviously, a barrier against negative aspects. Obviously, in this case, it's the alien spider. So, how long did it actually take you to first of all write the first book? Is it something you worked a long time on? I mean, obviously, it's a very professional thing. How did you get involved with actually starting it off?
So I actually came up with the idea like 20 years ago. I was out, maybe a little more. I was out I was pitching to the producers of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I had a pitch session out there.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't sell anything. It was really cool. On the way home, I was just doodling some things on the plane and came up with this idea of a guy, in like a fighting suit, like a pressurized fighting rig, and he's trapped in space and there's wreckage all around him.
Yeah.
And that's just an image I had in my mind, because I think visually and I write visually.
Right.
And I was like, well,
I noticed that in the.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I noticed that in the Descent, it was very, like reading a book. It's very visual. It said about the Nemesis landing. It also says about the wreckage around, and then the train and things like that. And that's one thing you really get with books. It's all about the mind's eye. And I could tell that you obviously, that was a lot of influence for your writing, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's some of my favorite visuals and kind of interesting things happening in that chapter. And it's funny when you write something, I tend to, outline it very carefully. But as I was writing that whole thing with of the ship, basically they're descending into a planet that's defended by billions and trillions of nanomachines.
Nano, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they realize that the sort of subconscious of the collective nanomachines, the literal cloud, if you will, understands that there's interlopers coming. Right. And so, one of my favorite things in that whole thing, and I even having written it, I'm kind of I love it, is that they're descending and like the nanomachines turn into like these giant horrible faces that stare at the ship as it's descending, and it's just like the weirdest, craziest thing.
It's reminding me of the end of the Matrix, the third one, where the actual robots almost like form a face kind of thing, as a sort of, I don't remember that scene. It's a similar thing to that. That's the perspective I got from that description there. It certainly was very interesting. Obviously you released the first book. Did you had you already had the inspiration to write the second book shortly after that? How did the second book come about? The Symmetry.
I left the first book in a more or less cliffhanger position where I resolved a lot of things, very important things for the characters, but I left it in a position where there's certainly something new to happen next. And I didn't have... a lot of times I'll read, a new author, a description, and he'll say, like, this is the first book of the Zip Zap series of the blah, blah, blah Chronicles or something. And for me, I'm like, I'm not going to write Timberwolf as if it's going to be the first of anything. I'm going to throw everything at the wall. Yeah. And this book is going to be, when someone's done reading this book, they're going to think that they got their money's worth, and it was time well spent. But I did leave it. I did leave the ending open, so if people did like the book, that I would write another one. And I did get some great positive feedback on the book. It was my first novel too, so it was great to get that kind of noticed. And so I just continued it, because I left it at one point, and literally the second book happens like 5 minutes after the first book ends.
Right.
So it continues, and it goes along the concept of blowback, which is I think of Timberwolf as being a genre called science fiction. It's not specifically science fiction because it's the different spies and agencies and secret agents and SEAL Team 6 type guys doing stuff. And I think about the concept of blowback, right? So if you think about if you read about in like a spy book, somebody assassinates a terrorist, and then the terrorist's brother comes back and wants revenge, and then they attack that guy, and then somebody else comes, and the concept of blowback is really within the intelligence community and within spy books is something that always happens. So symmetry is a story of blowback. So there is all the efforts to get to capture the secret weapons facility at the end of the first book, and what happens after that. What's the fallout?
Right.
And how does that happen?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, your third book, The Breacher Novella, it was described as full metal jacket in space. Do you like that that sort of description? I love that description. I think it's great. And it's a 30-page novella, basically talking about how the characters originally met one another. Yeah. So like a background thing.
They met in a sort of boot camp scenario where one of the characters is the hard ass drill instructor, and the others are like people on the squad, and they have an adventure out there, and the adventure defines their relationship over the next 30 years because of what happens in it.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, it's
Tom,
go on.
Hey, Marty.
Tom, where do you get your inspiration for the characters? Is it from life experiences, people or is it, how do you visualize when you're creating this type of stuff out, like when you're setting this universe out with every layer and the character development and that? How do you relate to anything when you create this, or is it all just coming out of your own mind?
Yeah, most of it's just coming out of my brain. To say I know characters that are have the same experience isn't really true. I mean, I don't know folks that have been through significant trauma like some of my characters and such.
Right.
But I do think of the archetypes of different roles that you see in other media. There's a little bit of James Bond. There's a little bit of Jason Bourne. There's a little bit of the film Aliens. There's all kinds of, because I think science fiction is by nature, it's hard not for it to be derivative, because everybody sees everything and looks at other people.
Yeah, there's always parallels. There are parallels with other production things, isn't there?
Definitely.
Right, but I will admit to a cardinal sin that I'm more influenced by television and films than I am by other books.
Okay.
And that's by all means true, because I watch a lot of. I think it's a great time to be, for TV, because it's so many prestige shows on right now. I mean, even beyond science fiction, I love period pieces and grandiose storytelling. I became completely enamored with a show called The New Pope, which is a Vatican drama, which in a way feels like science fiction because it's so bizarre and strange. And shows like that. I've been watching The Crown, and I've been watching other things like The Expanse, and all those things, whether they're sci-fi or not, really bring influence. But a lot of the visuals, some of the visuals like of the secret weapons planet were inspired by my experiences. I worked in the Twin Towers on 9/11. So
God.
Yeah. So there's the scene with the train that you referenced, Mike. If you notice the dust, like there's the constant theme of dust falling on everything.
Oh, and, you got that as the influence from what happened at 9/11?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I used to take a subway train directly to underneath that. So I just envisioned what that subway train was like. 'Cause thank God I was not.
I mean, even in the UK, I mean, I still very clearly, I'll just quickly say, on the day it happened, when I was working, I used to work in a place called Kingston upon Thames, near London, and our office, all the internet froze, and luckily my mum somehow, because she managed to get a picture through of the first plane hitting, and my boss said that's fake, it's not real. They honestly thought it wasn't real. And I was still blown away by the memory of that, even though it wasn't even in our own respective country, because obviously we're a very close united, and the UK and the US have got a very good relationship.
Yeah,
we were so blown away by just how terrible those events were. So to hear how you're referencing that experience in your own book, based on some of those that sort of experience, is certainly interesting.
Yeah, and even the concept of blowback of like, attacking Afghanistan and all this war that we've had, it doesn't end once you withdraw. There's always the next guy that comes along. So I guess I could say that the themes are influenced by the last 20 odd years of history that the world has experienced.
Yeah, absolutely.
The concept of there's no black and white, right? So one criticism, somebody gave me a 1-star review, and I should have sent them a Valentine and flowers for writing this, but they wrote that they were frustrated by the book because they didn't feel that there were any clear good guys or bad guys, and I was like, man,
but do you have that in real life though? Sometimes, I mean, that's sometimes people in the middle.
But the grey area is reality.
That's what I was saying. That's a real, that's a true aspect. Of
we
life.
were brought up on like films that you got your baddie and the hero, and
very distinctive. Very distinctive. But of course, in real life,
we had years of that.
Yeah,
and then it changed in the 90s. Suddenly, things got more grey, and
like The Expanse is a good example. The Expanse is a very good example about that. Babylon 5, another one. Absolutely, and that's
Sopranos.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I'm well aware of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I saw
where the bad guy is the hero. It's kind of amazing.
Breaking Bad's a good example as well.
That's a great example where the bad guy is the hero, and that sort of cold calculus of some of the main characters that have jobs that require cold calculus. You think about, like, is the head of the CIA who's ordering drone strikes? Is he not going to be a bit of a cold guy on the inside? And to me, I love that idea that we're talking about situations where the themes are bigger than the people, and that that there may not be a black and white situation. And a lot of it, like you had mentioned in the beginning, the giant spiders are definitely the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, they are pretty bad. The things they do physically and the way that they attack people and fight back are pretty bad. But also we're pretty bad. So it's a clever way of
balancing up.
They made a horror film in the 70s. I forgot, it was something called the Club. It was a British Hammer movie. I forgot what it was called now. And all the monsters and the demons are all in a bar. And the film tells a different story about each monster with a human. But it finishes where all the monsters are looking at the one human in the bar, and all of them, and they say, well, we're not as bad as you, are we? Because the human, it's genocide and mass. Peter Cushing's in it. I forgot what the film's called, but it's all like Dracula and Frankenstein. They just say to this guy, but he said, we don't kill millions of people, do we? And it just finishes there. It's all on this human, which was genius.
But then again,
awesome.
You get like parallels. I mean, there was a 70s BBC series called Survivors, which was remade in the. And now, how you watch that? And obviously, in that series, it was a greater extent to our real life experiences this year. But you watch Survivors, especially the first episodes where loads of people are dying from this virus, and of course, it's strange that sometimes science fiction can, in some ways, become science fact. And I think that's certainly interesting.
There's a series called The 100, and I thought it was like this teenage science fiction thing. And a friend of mine said, watch it, and I watched it. And it's about a whole group of people, of survivors, and they're all trying to stick to keep the humanity. And every time they try and make the right decision, the consequences come in for that decision, where it all gets, they're being pushed over the edge all the time.
Right.
And they're trying to keep whatever bit of integrity they've got, and then these decisions just suddenly go another way.
Yeah.
And you can't turn it off. It's
that that's interesting. Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, listen, Tom, it's really interesting hearing about your books. Are you in the midst of writing anything else? What's happening in your writing aspirations at the moment? Are you going to do any more books?
Yeah, I've got a third book in me. In fact, Timberwolf Symmetry. I was almost writing a two-parter when I was starting that, and I've got about half of the next book already finished.
Brilliant.
So I'm really excited to bring it full circle and you know.
Are you going to bring the story to a resolution, or are you going to keep it open, or haven't you decided yet?
I can't say.
Oh, okay. Fine. No, that's fine. It's your
universe building.
I think for me, as you could tell, my style would be to leave part of it open because, you know, life goes on. I don't want to wrap it up like the Return of the Jedi.
In reality, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
that sounds very interesting. So, is there a sort of scheduled time for it to be released, or are you just going to see how it goes and it's going to be ready when it's ready?
More the latter. I'm waiting for. I was thinking, you know, do I just dive in and start writing the next book right away after this one came out? But I have a lot of it done, a lot of it outlined. But I really do want to soak up what the audience thinks of the second book.
Yeah, absolutely.
And take a little bit of break and get a little perspective on it. I'll probably, you know, I say that, but I'll probably write a lot over the American Thanksgiving holiday coming up next week.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a hurry to do that. I'm just
do what's right for you. So to obviously give you information, it's out on Amazon. Tell us where we can get copies of it if we want to obviously check it out.
Yeah. Just go to you could go to tomjulian.com actually, and it'll take you right there.
Brilliant.
Or you could just Google it on Amazon or Google Timberwolf Symmetry, and you'll find it, and it's great. The first book is available print, Kindle, and audio, and the second book is available in print and Kindle. I didn't do an audiobook yet for the second book, but I hope to.
Okay, brilliant. Well, obviously, when we release this on YouTube, I'll post links, if that's okay with you, on the actual YouTube, and obviously, hopefully, that will get some further interest to your writing expertise. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, I love it. And
go on.
No, if anybody, also post my Facebook up there too. If people want to hassle me, I love hearing from fans, especially if they have great questions. Again, like the woman who hated the book, I had the best conversation with, just because it's fun. Because, you know, I try to give people what they want, but not necessarily the way they want it.
Yeah, that's the very mature way of doing it. You're open to obviously different people's perspectives, even if it's not necessarily what you wanted yourself. So I can appreciate that. That's certainly interesting.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, it's great. Thank you guys very much for having me aboard.
Oh, that's thank you for coming on. I mean, we were going to go into the focus of Doctor Who 11. Are you okay to stick around, or what's best for you, Tom?
Yeah. I just need 30 seconds to check in on my son, and you guys start, and I'll join you in a minute.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's hit the jingle, and we'll see you in a minute.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week 2.
Okay, Martin, while Tom's obviously just doing what he's doing, we are now focusing on the 11th Doctor of Doctor Who, the first New Who we've ever done on the show, and it's quite amazing. After 50 episodes, we haven't delved into one of the 5 New Who Doctors. So let's hear from your perspective, first of all. What did you think about when the 11th Doctor suddenly materialised on the TARDIS?
Who's the 11th Doctor?
What? What did you say?
Who's the 11th Doctor?
Matt Smith, isn't it?
Oh, right,
Oh,
right, Matt
man.
Smith.
Oh, that's a blooper.
Sorry. right. God. Yeah, and for some reason I was thinking it all ended with Sylvester McCoy. Like I was stuck in that mind frame.
No. Oh, my God. I mean,
I deserve shooting down. Shoot me down.
It's really funny, Tom. When you disappeared, I said, "What do you think of the 11th Doctor?" And he said, "Who's the 11th Doctor?" That was an epic blooper. There we go. I mean,
shall we do it again?
No, that's fine. We actually have a bloopers compilation, so I think that might have to be added onto to our Hall of Shame, shall we say?
I'm not a big fan of Matt Smith. I'm half and half. I thought half. I mean, honestly, when Amy Pond came into it and husband and every Saturday started, he's going, "Oh, this is our friend the Doctor, and he takes us away on a weekend, and we have lots of fun together in the town." And I'm sat there, oh, for God's sake.
Really? I liked it. I actually liked it.
Come on. Come on. I mean, there is something like the Pandorica thing, but amazing.
That was good.
The whole that
was very well written. I like the Pandorica.
But when it got to that, when it turned into that, they were losing the way. That's my feeling on it. But I did like Matt Smith, but it's the writers. You
did not. But I mean,
I thought he was a good Doctor.
I mean, a lot of people are obviously talking about the Chris Chibnall writing era at the moment. There's a lot of negativity. Again, it's down to the individual. But this is the point where Stephen Moffat took over. Did you not think he was a very good executive producer at that point, or did you prefer Russell T Davies?
After Sherlock, the first 2 seasons of Sherlock, I was absolutely blown away. You know, with Sherlock, with Dominic Cumberbatch and that, and I thought this guy's going to really, take Doctor Who up really into a new sort of level, and he just didn't deliver, did he? Because look at third season of Sherlock were terrible. So I mean,
I've not seen Sherlock.
I mean, some episodes you want to give it. It's very good, but that's where I'd heard of him and his writing. And when I actually saw some of his stories, they were terrible. I mean, there were some great episodes, but it was just the Amy Pond saga and her husband, and where they're jumping into TARDIS and flying off to battle for the weekend or whatever. I'm just annoyed because he's the Doctor.
But the thing is, though, I liked the era. I mean, it was obviously a difference from the previous Doctor, the David Tennant era. But there were some. I mean, Rory always dying and coming back to death, coming back to life again was a bit of a stretch. But I actually quite like this era. Did you like Clara when she came on, or did you not like?
Yes, I did. I like Clara as well. Yeah.
Clara was that was a very. I mean, so you preferred her to Amy Pond, did you?
Yeah, I think she's great as Nebula in Guardians, but I couldn't stand the character in
Doctor Who.
I mean, look, it's not all bad. I like the episode with James Corden. That was brilliant.
Oh, that had a sequel.
When he moved in his flatmate, I thought that was superb.
Let's ask Tom. Tom was the one that mentioned the 11th Doctor. So tell me what you thought about that era yourself.
So it was my first introduction to Doctor Who, and I kind of just loved that. Sometimes I love chaos. Like I like things that are unexpected and maybe a little off, maybe a little silly. That's sort of my thing. So I really like the chaos that they would throw. Yeah. The 11th Doctor would throw out, and he would sort of tell you like some of the stories felt like they were putting a puzzle together.
But like a jigsaw,
like showing you but they were like showing you at the end of the puzzle or beginning and throwing it together. Like I know it's just obvious, but the day what is it? The Impossible Astronaut one where they beat the silence.
Yes, the silence.
And
the silence.
That is one of the most clever things when they have the moon landing, and it says you should attack us all every time you see us, and that's what they. And so the silence basically exterminates itself. I thought that was so clever. I didn't see that coming. And that was one of the first things I'd ever seen on Doctor Who. I just jumped in and saw those 2 episodes and was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I just kind of watched it again and sort of from the beginning and saw like the sort of arc that felt like a fairy tale because, when the Doctor meets Amy, she's a kid and she doesn't believe that he really was there, and he comes back later.
That's right.
and it's very, very much like a fairy tale. And it's kind of, for me, I enjoyed it. And,
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
What do you think of Amy's the end of her story arc, where technically she died of old age because she went back to New York in the 1920s, I think it was. So I thought her exit was very good. Actually, it was sad, but she had a very happy life.
I thought they got trapped within that time.
They got left in
dimension.
New York they were back in New York in the 1920s.
They were in a time bubble with them angels, weren't they? He couldn't get them out.
Well, the angels sent them back in time, but where they went, the Doctor couldn't go back to get them. So they lived out their life in America, and then they died of old age together. I thought it was quite a good ending, actually. I thought it was quite poignant. Another thing I was thinking about with this era, of course, is that the Matt Smith era was during the 50th anniversary. So we had the two Doctors, the David Tennant, Matt Smith, teaming up together, which I thought... Did you like the anniversary episode? Either of you?
I loved the anniversary. I loved it. I was in Trafalgar Square the day where the TARDIS came down on the crane.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
That day. Yeah, I've got pictures of it. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see that. That was awesome. I'd love to have seen that. That must have been brilliant. I thought it was a very good anniversary episode. Actually, I thought it was very. I like the fact that there was this unknown Doctor that we'd not seen before.
The War Doctor?
Yeah, the War Doctor. I thought that was very clever.
That was cool.
James.
And then, of course, the episode after that was the very last one with Matt Smith, where, of course... so when Peter Capaldi turned up, I assume for you, Tom, it was your very first regeneration you ever saw? Or did you not see that one?
I'd gone back and watched the David Tennant... end of the David Tennant. After I got into the Matt Smith one, I went back and watched the David Tennant transfer.
Right.
It's very cool because you don't even know what's happened to him like a bunch of times. He always seems like he doesn't know what to expect or what's going to happen to him.
Right.
Especially the 11th Doctor was supposed to be his last regeneration.
That's right. The 13, the regeneration limit. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
so.
And then they broke the rules there, which is fine. It's sort of like I remember a lot of people were moaning about how the Doctor, it's supposed to be his last one. They've always said that. It's Doctor Who. You've got dinosaurs on spaceships and crazy stuff going on.
Yes.
Actually, with Time Lords, apparently they can go beyond it. Apparently, why there's only 12 regeneration.
It was
apparently
set,
they start going a bit mad, the older Time Lords. So that's why it were limited to 12.
Yeah, but of course now in recent Doctor Who they've completely changed it. I mean, apparently the Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
the endless child and all that. Yeah.
Have you seen the Endless Child storyline? I don't know if you've seen that yet, Tom.
Which one's that again?
It's the most recent episodes where we actually supposedly get some much more background on the 13th Doctor and how she originally started off, and she wasn't on. I don't want to give you any spoilers if you've not seen it, but there's some big twists coming up.
It was very good.
I gotta watch those. I haven't really gotten into the 13th Doctor. It's funny with Doctor Who. It's like people like the Doctors they like, and then they don't necessarily bother to watch all the episodes of the other Doctors. Yeah. So I need to watch.
Well, I won't give you any spoilers, but if you watch it, you'll find some interesting aspects. I mean, it took me a while to get into the 13th Doctor. I definitely think that she's one of my lesser favourite Doctors. But again, if you watch the end of the most recent episode, there's a big twist which I won't spoil for you, but you certainly will find it interesting.
What's funny about it? I just didn't feel that. Maybe it's because of the Matt Smith era had even though at times it didn't work and it was silly and unpredictable, it seemed to know where it was going, even if it was going to get there in a crazy way.
Yeah.
And these the new one, the Jodie Whittaker ones, I'm always sort of. It seems very conventional, like the storytelling. It's like, okay, they're here, somebody gets murdered, they're the monster of the week, and it kind of cycles back again. And it felt to me like a step away from what I was, what I really enjoyed about the 11th and 12th
absolutely.
Doctors.
There is a 5-year story arc with this Doctor.
Is there?
Christian, there's a 5-year story arc. We're only a part way into it. Yeah, if it goes the full distance.
So does that indicate that Jodie would want to be on the show for 5 years then?
Well, they've signed her up for the next series.
Yeah, but I mean, normally in recent years,
yes.
most of the recent Doctors have only done three seasons respectively.
Well, she signed up for a series after the next one, so obviously.
Well, she could do because it's a shorter one. So if she did that, then the length of her being on the show would be a little bit more closer to the others.
But there's a massive story arc unfinished. I don't want to tell so many spoilers, but you've seen it. And there is a massive opening still that things need answering. And
absolutely, yes. We can certainly say that. There's a lot of questions. We need a lot of answers and stuff. So Well, it's been certainly interesting talking about this era. Like I said, Doctor Who is a very strange beast because you can go to... I mean, I don't know, have you seen much of the classic Doctor Who yet, Tom?
I've seen bits of it, but to be honest, I don't think I remember too many of them.
No, but it's a huge thing. I mean, literally. I mean, it went on for 27 seasons. There's a lot of content on there, and so if you want to sort of sign off another year of your life and just watch the goggle box or the TV, as we say over here, then you probably would take all that time for you to go through them all. But I mean, I've got every episode. I've seen every episode. It's funny how each Doctor, it always throws the show in a new direction, and that's the problem. That some people, when it changes, they think, "Oh, this isn't what it used to be," but then new people come on and they prefer it to the older one, and it's a very interesting show. But not many shows have done that, where it can keep evolving, and it loses some people, it gains some other people, and then of course you get the big fans who like aspects of all of them. But certainly an amazing series, and I'm certainly glad that you checked it out.
The interesting thing that every generation has their Doctor.
Absolutely.
Mine's for me it's Pertwee. Yours is Colin Baker, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Colin Baker, Peter Davison. I like 80s Doctor Who, not later 80s, not so much Sylvester McCoy. Although I did like his in the TV movie with Paul McGann, the Eighth Doctor.
Oh, that was superb.
I loved that. I thought, and of course that really.
I thought it was fantastic.
And also the Seventh Doctor's death, which I won't spoil if you've not seen it, Tom, is amazing for that. I was so blown away with him on the BBC series where it was finishing to come back in a sort of almost like a cameo for the American TV movie. Actually, I think it's Canadian, or it's a joint venture thing on it. And I thought that was really good. So, like I said, we all have pros and cons with Doctor Who, but in the end, I'm certainly glad that we've all enjoyed it like we have. Right, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're just about done, unless there's anything else you want to finish off with. Anybody else? Any other comments?
Just that I will be doing a live show, Martin Sci-Fi Appeal, on Sunday at 5 o'clock.
I'll try and tune in. Are you stopping doing your Discovery reviews? You were doing those on Fridays at one point.
Yeah, I'll.
But you just moved house. You just moved house, so yeah, I certainly understand that. I mean,
they blocked the video.
Oh, that's right.
They blocked, the panel video. It's been blocked.
Oh, what, the one that I was on?
Oh no!
They blocked it. Yeah, they blocked the entire panel video. All 5 of it's been blocked.
Oh, you're kidding!
Their contact there.
Well, if they feel like that, that's such a waste of time then. I mean, luckily we never had any problems.
I know, I'm getting a bit fed up of all this now.
Well, maybe
they just block everything.
Maybe you should just stick to, doing your sort of ones on Sundays. Right, guys, I think we'll finish off. Tom, thank you so much for coming on. It's been certainly very interesting to hear about your books. I will certainly try to check them out when I get the time. It sounds like there's some really interesting reading there. I'm sure we'd love to have you back at some point for further shows. So stay in touch with us. And I mean, like I said, maybe if you review some other Doctors or there's any other shows. We haven't done a Mandalorian show yet, so maybe in a few weeks, if you'd be interested. We'd love to hear your perspective of that one.
I'll commit to that on the spot to do a Mandalorian show.
Brilliant.
Maybe we could do one after the season's done.
I think that'd be a wonderful time. Right, let's sort of pencil that in. I think it's only on for another 4 or 5 weeks. It's not on that long. It's quite short. So all right, Tom. All? Yeah, it's only 8. I think it's only 8 episodes in the second season, which is quite short. Whereas Discovery's got something like 13 or 14. So it's going really fast. But I don't care. It's Star Wars, and I love it. So I'm sure that we'll have.
I'd sign up for both, either Discovery or a Mando recap.
Brilliant. Well, we'll keep that in mind, Tom, and that'd be great. Right, I think we'll end with, I have played this before, but it's quite funny. It's John Pertwee singing I Am the Doctor. Obviously, John Pertwee is the third Doctor. He sang this song back in the 60s. I think it's quite cool, and I think it's a good way to round up the show. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you next time on the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast.
Live long and prosper.
Across the void beyond the mind, the empty space that circles time, I see where others stumble blind to seek a truth they never find. Eternal wisdom is my guide. I am the Doctor. Through cosmic waste the TARDIS flies to taste the secret source of life. A present science can't deny exists within, outside, behind the latitude of human minds. I am the Doctor. My voyage dissects the course of time. Who knows, you say, but are you right? Who searches deep to find the light that glows so darkly in the night? Toward that point I guide my flight. As fingers move to end mankind, metallic teeth begin their grind. With sword of truth I turn to fight the satanic powers of the night. Is your faith before your mind? Know me, am I the Doctor?